Carolyn Lanier Roberts. I am Rockin' Larry Locken. We're going to talk today a little bit about your true power. What is your true power? Power is an eternal flow, not an eternal flow, but it's an external one that is reflected outward when a person is in proper alignment with their heart center. And with that being said, Carolyn Lanier Roberts, how are you doing down there in San Antonio, Texas? It's been a crazy morning trying to get this together, but I think we're here. And I think this is a great subject, your true power, and it comes from right. But we're gonna break that down. But how's everything going, first of all? And I know you always have some words of wisdom for us on.
I'm here. I mean, this is probably one of the most passionate subjects, period, for me. And I'm grateful to be offering the unique perspective that I've been within me almost 10 years ago. And for anybody that this empowers for their own grace, beauty, and truth. And I woke up this morning and here I am. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I had to make sure the volume was up. So if I faded away for a second, that's exactly why.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have would you like to lead us in a little bit of a,
sweet,
whatever you want to call it? I don't like using the word prayer. I don't mind it, but I'm cautious of what other people might think or say.
Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. So we're gonna align positively, pray in, pull in the highest intent, whatever you choose to call it right now for anybody that chooses to participate. If you would like to close your eyes, to put your attention inward, where all creation starts, and to begin to slow down your breath. Calming down at everything and bringing yourself into this present moment. To give yourself this gift of peace, presence. And now I'm going to call in what my guides call the litany. Mother, Father, God, our higher selves, our I am, our guides and our ancestors, our star brothers and sisters, our star family, angels, archangels, and their divine counterparts, masters, ascended masters, and other Christed beings, star brothers and sisters, star family, Elohim, elementals, Mother Gaia, Dragon Collective, the Watchers, Christed beings across time and space. We ask you to join us now in this moment to align all willing hearts into the space, into this divine truth as they choose and allow, to reconnect with the truth of power, their divine birthright, to point all the energy that they resonate with into them, to point them into what they are made of, what they are created from, to point them back to what makes them tick in their world for themselves. To help them bring back their creational flow back into their center within themselves, not projected externally. To connect them with their divinity and the true source of this as creator beings, children of God, power embodied, walking in divine will. Please help me, please help Larry to articulate clearly all that wants to be and needs to be conveyed in this moment for this podcast regarding power and its true purpose and its true source. To open all hearts, to invite all hearts that are called to this podcast and this and any other now, to invite them into the truth of their being, of this energy, this focus that is always there as an invitation for them to step forward and begin the creation from within themselves as it has always divinely been, and to help them realign with this divine truth for themselves and their own beautiful chosen realities to serve the greater good. May the blessings be. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Carolyn. And I'd like to say hi to everybody on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook Live on the Conscious Conversations page, YouTube, of course, on Pleiadian Express Productions, and on XXX, formerly known as Twitter, you know.
Yeah.
Carolyn, what is your true power? You know, your true power, right? I think
Power.
we're so bogged down with it coming from
Yeah.
outward. We've got so much crap in our head from the time that we're born till the time that we, till the time that we, from cradle to grave, we're riddled with it, right? And it
Right.
really is about letting that come from your heart center and reflecting it outward, not bringing something from outside inward. But it's really rough. And I know you've had quite some experiences in life coming through this. You were kind of
Yeah.
emotional when we were talking about this subject in the pre-show. And yeah.
Right.
Mm.
So power, my guides gave me this years ago, and as a reawakener of the conversation of the heart, that is my mission, which is the conversation between the sacred mind, sacred heart, in the body vehicle, the voice of the soul. And so power is actually the divine birthright of every soul. Power for me is perception of will, is experience received. At the lower level, that will is your small will, your ego will, which is not a negative thing. We all need that to exist here. It's just that has to move into balance with higher will, and higher will, divine will, is what comes forward and speaks first. In the higher levels, that higher will, perception of will's experience received, that's divine will. And that divine will is either surrendered or merged with your will. You choose how you choose to approach that merging, that connection. That's a private thing between you and the divine. So to understand this power, a lot of people see power as this, it's this twisted energy that we've all known and that has created stages and spaces for horrific events in what we've seen in the Piscean age. And it was twisted and misconstrued, and we were made to believe and made to feel and made to have these belief systems that it was outside of us, in this person, in this event, in this industry, in this societal institution. And it never has been. It's always been an extension of us. And what I understand, and especially understand, is that it is an expression of our heart projected externally. And so if you are and what I'm hearing now within me is, if you are at war within yourself, within your heart of what you are, then you are disconnected from that flow. And that's not a bad thing to be at war. It's part of the journey to bring yourself into the place of accepting yourself and accepting what's happened to you and the choices you've made. And as you allow yourself to deepen into that acceptance and release the fight, and it's not about releasing your true will. It's about releasing the need to be against anything, and to understand that anything that you are against, because you are truly a divine being, at some level of you're against you. And at the place where you surrender, where you allow, because you are trusting yourself, And trust is a line, it's a direct line to faith in the divine. As you trust yourself, as you address the blockages to trusting yourself, and you move into deeper acceptance of yourself, addressing old stories and old projections of what you thought you were, and letting down those masks, especially against you, and letting down your against. And I'm getting within me against anything, actually, is what I'm getting within me. As you let that down and you begin to really embrace the fact that you are a divine being, you are a child of God, creator being, however you come to that. That's your business, you and the divine. As you let those walls down, you can see all the way around. You don't have this. Anytime you're against, and I'm not talking about agreeing with things that are not congruent with you. I'm talking about fighting things for the purpose of your ego, for the purpose of your small will, not connecting with your heart in that battle, just being against because it's a natural flow for you, which truly it isn't a natural flow. It's been something that's been conditioned into us via our DNA, by our ancestors, with no judgment on them. They went through the shit for us to be here now. But,
Yeah.
But when you let down that against, when you let that down, that means that some level of you is willing to trust yourself, that you're going to get you where you need to be, and trust the divine, again, is what I'm hearing. And it's a place where you've explored all the other choices. If you haven't explored those other choices, then coming to this place is more difficult, because you're still going to have these inner battles within yourself that you need to answer. You need to figure out until you are basically exhausted of those battles. You have to become exhausted of them. And then you have to understand that as you reach that place of exhaustion and you put down the walls, is what I'm hearing, that's when the light can come in. Because at some level, you begin to understand that you do have responsibility on your world. And I'm not talking about placing blame. Blame and responsibility are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Blame is a place where you're judging self and you're holding self in a place where you're shaking yourself, and you're like, it's a level of hating yourself is what I'm getting. It's not about that. It's about accepting those choices and understanding that you made those choices and you can make other choices when you're ready. And if you're ready, it becomes, you can't, it's undeniable. You're tired of the fight. You're tired of the against. You're tired of all this shit. And you realize that because if you've reached this point, you've gone through surrender many times. And when you surrender, it's a place where you are understanding that you can do no more with your small will, that you have to allow the divine to take action, to take a hold within you, to help direct you. And then you move into that flow, and it can be a very gradual flow, but it's an eye-opening space. It's frankly the place where the dark night of the soul comes in, because you can't do anything, right, Larry? That makes sense?
Yeah, well, you're stuck in a world too, right? You're stuck in a world where everybody else around you doesn't realize this or get that there's an issue. Really, that could be one, or two. They may be a controlling type persuasion. So it's like you're saddled with the fact that you're also a pioneer in your realm,
Yep.
in your existence, in your inner circle, or whatever you want to call that, whether that's your family, friends, coworkers, whatever. You're one of those groundbreaking humans that is, if you're not actively thinking about this concept, at least you're feeling it, right? You're feeling that strain and that stress of having all this shit in your head all the time, right? And maybe you're not aware. Yeah, maybe you're not aware yet that all thoughts are not necessarily yours. Of course not, because you're a radio station. You're picking up frequency. You're emitting frequency. You're picking up from everybody else's radio station around you too, right? Whether it's, and it isn't even so much the words they're saying. Sometimes it's just the vibe they give off, right? It's just who they are and the impressions that they give. So you're picking all that stuff up, right? And you're living in a world like that where First of all, you have to understand that there's something there to begin with, right? Before you can start working on it, and then once you understand it, it's a whole nother ball game altogether to be full of that feeling, like I'm always saying, and realizing that it's got to completely come from within. Another one of them cliches, right? They always throw out there, go within, go within, go within, right? But it is true. It's so true, and and then it comes into understanding why people around you might be that way, right? Because the natural tendency is to get frustrated, to get angry, to get mad, and why are they trying to do this to us on purpose?
Right.
You know what I mean? But sometimes that's just the growth level they're at. And it really doesn't, I don't think, Carolyn, at the end of the day, it really doesn't really matter whether or not, it's them, they're jerks, they're dicks, whatever they are.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
they're nice, they don't know. It doesn't, because it's really within you, right? Because at
right.
that end of the day, when you're alone in that midnight hour, it's just going to be you, right? And
Right.
so,
Right. And then the other part of that was so when you're not against anymore, the initiative then comes through you, and that means that the answer comes through you as well. It's a total shift from pointing external for those answers, for that grounding, to pointing within yourself for that grounding. And that is power, your will, not another's will, that is directing your life. And when you're in that place where you're directed within self and you're aligning in that space, that's not small will. That's bigger will. That's divine will. That's perception of wills experienced received. That's higher will. That is the place where sovereignty comes into play. That's the place where full acceptance comes into play for the dark and the light that you are. It's a complete shift from pointing external to stuff and the old paradigm of power, basically. It's about moving away from other voices and moving towards your voice. And if you
mm-hmm,
don't know what your voice is, then this is the place, and this is definitely the time where you begin to discern and you begin to pick apart what is your voice, what is your choice, how do you really feel about something, what really matters, not what your mom says, your parents say, your society says, your neighbor says, your boss says, the church says,
and the
the
barber, yeah,
president
the doctor's
says,
uncle,
not any of these voices, not any
yeah,
of them. Your unique and blessed voice. What is it? What is it? And the way you can find that, I offer, is that you can feel over time, as you begin to connect with yourself more and your uniqueness, you begin to see there's like this deficit of, wow, they forgot this part. Wow, they didn't include this part. Wow, why didn't they talk about this part? Hey, this part wasn't mentioned. Hey, and you
mm-hmm,
begin to hone in on, hey, this is my voice in this space. This is something they've left off. How could they have
mm-hmm,
left this off? And you begin to tap into that more and more, and it's like I'm hearing it's your life flow. It's what matters to you. It's that element that they left out. How come they didn't talk about this part? This part's
yeah,
really important. You know,
right,
why didn't they talk about this part? And
yeah.
it starts to stick out to you more and more. It's becomes very apparent. um your
Do
voice
you think that,
exists and it matters. Go on,
right?
Larry.
Do you think it's important that why did to get hung up on that? Why didn't they? Of course, you're going to come to that realization where you ask it, right? But I guess you could go round and round and round with why they didn't, right? I mean, how productive is it really to
It ends.
sit and
It ends, yeah. But what the reason I brought that up is because you become like, they're talking about all this stuff, and you're very aware that there's a whole little thing in here. You're like, hey, you guys missed this part. This part's really significant, right? Or
Mhm,
maybe you're even doing an online class on something that you're really interested in, and
mhm,
you're taking that class, and you're like maybe even scanning the syllabus, and you're like, hey, there's a whole part right here, and you're not even
mhm,
talking about that.
mhm. I've
Give
run into
yourself
that. Okay, yeah, mhm,
give yourself credit
yeah,
for the fact that that's internal knowledge within you that's not
yeah,
included in that class. So that's part of your wisdom within you. And it's not
right,
something I'm hearing that's born through, you're not, it's not about going to school for it, with all respect to schools and that, because that has a place as well, but it's about, it's like your experience, it's your wisdom. Wisdom for me is experience viewed through the eyes of compassion, just like judgment is experience viewed through the eyes of regret. So it's you viewing your experience, and then you connect with your ancestral experience, and that comes from, it's stuff that you got from your parents, but it's also like this, it's the way that you're aligned, and it's the way that you're aligned this way, and maybe your friends are aligned this way and your neighborhood's aligned this way, but you see things this way, and it, you know, it has a stamp on you, it affects you, you see things that way until you choose to consciously not see things that way.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, because again, it goes back to we're radio stations, right? So we're
Right.
bleeding. The alignments are bleeding over, right? They're bleeding. It's like a bad AM station trying to tune it in late at night. Or all that stuff's bleeding over onto you, right? And
Right.
you mentioned. I wish I had some examples to bring up, because you mentioned that why aren't they talking about this as far as the syllabus goes, right? I ran into that before. Right, and
It's
I've been, going over the course, and this sounds like a great subject. I can't wait. Oh boy, I just know when they get to this, I just know this is going to be something he's gonna or she's gonna hit in
yeah.
when we get there, and it's like, it's over in less than an afternoon.
Really? You know, or I'm even thinking, you know, you're watching a video on YouTube and it's about, maybe it's one of those historical things, I don't know, something that really matters to you, and you're watching it, and there's some kind of historical event that you felt was very, very significant, and they didn't even talk about it. And you're like, whoa, that was really important, and they didn't talk about it. And then you can begin to ask yourself, I'm getting within me, okay, and I know we didn't want to talk about the why, because the why can go in places, but the other aspect of that is that it can uncover things within you. And the whole point of it is that you're excavating who you are. Because once you connect with your voice and what matters to you, that's aligned with your will. That's a flow of the will.
Yeah, no, it is cool. Yeah. Right. I'll
I
explain
know.
when
We're reading
we
it.
get off there. I'll explain what he did. Yeah. I'll explain that whole situation with that gentleman he's mentioning. Um, yeah, but it's kind of is relevant as far as the ego goes. What he's saying about this kind of thing. Yeah, right. Now I kind of got thrown for a loop though. He has a way of doing that. Throwing me for a loop like that. So it is a question for your. So what you're saying for your growth path, it's relevant, and not to dwell on it, but it is relevant to think about, to consider, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah,
Right.
you can get a little bit better understanding with it. It's just you don't want to get caught up in this dichotomy where you're moving forward, but on the other hand, you still got these resentments, and you're getting pissed off because that's how it was, that's how it was put to you, right? Right.
Yeah. And then so there was a time in my life where I lost my voice, or I lost my will, and I was married. It was a dysfunctional marriage. It was wonderful in the beginning, but it shifted quickly. There were parts of it that I loved and parts I didn't. I was a mother, a stay-at-home mom, and when you're a parent, the voices of society and everybody else really, really, really can overpower your own. And I let myself get swallowed up in being a wife and mother, and I completely lost,
Who you
I would
were.
say I lost my identity. I lost my identity. I lost touch of, I forgot I had a degree for most of the marriage.
For telling me
And
that, it's the only time I ever looked at you kind of cross-eyed when you told me that. I'm like, huh?
yeah, I did. I completely did. It was like, because I
Yeah.
lost my identity. And so when you lose your identity, you lose track of what you are, where you are, what you are, because you're lost in a company, and you totally want to be a cog in the wheel in that company, and you want to conform to that. I don't know if that mindset exists anymore. It did when I was younger, but
Like, still
wonderful
alive
if it
and
doesn't
well, sure.
exist. Or you or maybe you're in a family, and that family demands a lot of things of you that are not the way that you're wired within yourself. That's a place where That's a hard place to be. My fiance went through that one. You have connection with your will. You have connection with your voice, but it's not in a flow. It's not in a, so that means you make choices and you'll make a choice and it's this way, and the next day or the next way you'll make it and it'll be inconsistent because you keep getting pulled into other people's choices, other people's, because your center isn't you. Your center isn't you. You're still pointing externally to yourself. And I'm not judging others in this space because everybody goes through this space. But when you lose your identity and you lose your will, it's kind of a place where you're stripped clean is what I'm getting. And you get a point where, you know, the divine's going to shake it up because you're not here to be losing your identity. And you have a right to be happy, to want to be in the reality that you're in. And that has to do with you exerting your will. And again, it's not the small will, although the ego certainly has its place.
Yeah.
It's a divine will. It's the highest choice and alignment for you that's possible in your reality in any moment.
So you don't think, real quick, not to interrupt, you don't think anybody came in with the intention of, oh my God, I want to go to Earth. I want to go to lose my identity. I want to get in this marriage to lose my identity. I want to get this job so I can an identity. Right. Yeah,
not at all. But when you're
happened.
talking about it, I'm thinking of, like, I'm seeing with Envy, like, what is it? Well, she wasn't the best example of it, but, you know, like 1950s, the wife, the mother, that whole thing.
White bread, mayonnaise, leave it to Beaver. Gee, gosh, Wally.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
For your hair on your palms. I know. I mean, yeah, right. I get it totally. Yeah, and that does. You really do become another brick in the wall. You become another cog in the wheel. Little box, you know, like the old song, little boxes. Yeah.
It's but you learn. You know, we're always learning. So we're learning through the contrast, or we're learning through the similarity, and each one informs us. So, all right. Okay. All right. It's not, so power, the old power was about breaking will, breaking somebody else's will, making them do what you wanted them to do for you. But true power I offer, which is that higher will, divine will, true power is about inviting somebody into your vision, inviting somebody into your new perspective. It's about a collaboration. You're inviting them. They may or may not agree, and if they don't agree, hey, have a good life. But if they do, that's beautiful. You and them can work together. Because it's not about forcing your will, because then that becomes an expression of ego and arrogance. It's about inviting them into your will, inviting them into your vision, into your perspective. And they agree, they don't agree. Maybe they've got some suggestions, they've got different opinions, but they don't necessarily agree with you, but they love your strength. They love your truth.
It's not like get your ass, you know, you can join my sandbox, but you know, but it's not like get your ass over here and play in my sandbox, right? Get your ass over here in my sandbox.
Right now.
But it's business, though. It's so ingrained upon us, though, to get what we need by using that kind of a force too, right? It's so ingrained with us to exert our will, right? When we need something or when we feel like we're right. It's so ingrained that you just hit upon one of the brain things within it.
It's a hard one to reach that one, because I mean, at some point, you know, in existence, when you're day to day, you might have to do that with some things. You certainly might have to do it with your pets or something, but you have to pick and choose deliberately where you're going to do it with other individuals, because then you run into karma, basically. You know, then you run into you can move out of alignment with your truth if you step into that energy too far. Lose sight is what I'm hearing within me.
See too, you mentioned like animals or children or something, you might have to do that with, you know, medical reason or something, right? That's where I have a lot of trouble doing it, or had a lot of trouble. But what I used to like is exerting that on people that would like to, that are that way stereotypically themselves, right? That are those kind of power hungry people. I like, you know, taking the fight right to the bully. And, you
Okay.
know, and even when I got my way, really rubbing it in, but as far as not being able to take initiative when it's doing it to an animal or anything like I mean, I fall to pieces when trying to, even if it's something to help them, but when it's, yeah, so I'm kind of at an interesting, I'm kind of weird, actually. I mean, nobody's
So
caught on yet, but I am a little weird.
no, I understand that, and I was there for the longest time. What I'm understanding now, and I offer is that what am I getting? I'm getting like you hold the power within you to shape your reality.
Yeah.
And what you feed and what you fuel is going to perpetuate in your reality. And so if you want that kind of expression of power to exist, then you exert that, right? You extend that energy into your reality. If you don't want that to continue, if you truly want to shift to a compassionate perspective, peaceful, and I'm hearing within me to be very clear, it's not about peace at any cost, because you give space, but you also are discerning, right? You also are um, walking in your truth, not theirs, with all respect to them, yours,
Mm-hmm.
but to not perpetuate the cycle of what we've already been through, been there, done, same shit, you know, to not do that, then your reaction of wanting to control those who have controlled, has to end. Like the buck stops
Mm-hmm.
here, right?
Yeah.
Just like I said
Right.
before, this lifetime, the shit that we've dealt through this lifetime and the ones before does not carry on. It ends here. It ends. It's done, right? I've said before, I always get karma ends, karma's over.
Yeah.
For the souls that are rising, for the souls that are connecting with their divine truth, because you are self-aware in those choices. And so even if that person is a complete ass to you, they're a
Yeah.
complete ass, and you want to be a manipulative, with all respect to you or any one of us that wants this choice, and you want to be a complete ass back to them, yeah, you can do that. You can. And I'm not saying it's not, maybe it's not called for. Yeah, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that if you allow yourself to go below the actions of the individual, you're not in your stuff. You're connected with the choice of the action of what would make a soul act that way and choose that, and you're digging into the compassion. You're digging into the underlayer of the pattern itself, and you can see where it came from, right? Which wasn't about cruelty or anything else. It's actually about fear, right? It's actually about survival for anybody.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah. Absolutely.
so when you dig into that, and that takes a lot of personal strength, but everybody's capable of that. When you dig into that and you connect with the compassion and you connect with the choice of that, not as a place, as I said in other podcasts, compassion is love in action. It's not a place of weakness. It's a place of profound strength. You're grounded, you're aware, you're
Discipline.
deliberately
Yeah.
choosing to offer this love to this other who's a complete ass. But you don't have to take on those
Yeah.
barbs. You don't have to take on it. That's their shit. It really has nothing to do with you. And if
No.
you choose, and some souls won't choose this, but this is where I live and this is where I am, and I offer this to those who do choose. If you choose to react in compassion, you don't even have to be a softie. You could even say, hey, I don't deserve that, and however else you want to say it, but you're holding an energy of compassion, and you're understanding where they're coming from. Their lostness is what I'm hearing within me. You can change the pattern. You can change the
Yeah.
pattern right there. And the other thing I'm getting is that your small interaction with that soul is not just this small event. It actually goes out, because compassion, what am I getting? Something, it's a reflection of the divine field. It's
Yeah.
it's fed. It's fed, and it builds, and it supports you, and it supports all. Does that make sense, Larry?
Yeah, yeah, it makes total sense, right? I think that when you get into a position where you can step above it too, and I don't know, that's in this realm
Yes,
sometimes,
Jason.
but especially out of it, when you can see that it's not personal against you, right? But what
Right.
the tough part comes into is when you're dealing with it time and time again in a situation that you're locked into, right? Whether it's a living situation or somebody you
Right.
work with, somebody, a colleague in another realm of yours, right? It's hard to see it, and so it's hard not to take it personal, right? And then you might feel a little bit, um, like you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. You might feel a little bit threatened. You might feel like you're being smothered or whatever. So you have a tendency to think that they're doing that because of you, or that maybe they're not showing you the respect you deserve because it's you, and that may be the case too. But nevertheless, really, it's a problem with them. Right. And I think understanding that is a lot of the battle, but then putting it into full feeling again is just a constant work, right?
Yeah, because I'm just like what we've talked about the last podcast was patterns, and I heard very clearly within me, the understanding breaks down those patterns. It goes to the root and it dissolves them. Basically, your ability to understand it, understand it, and not take it personally, because it really never is personal. And yes, beautiful. Jason is one of the beautiful watchers here, and I'm looking at his comment, and that yes, that's
Really.
beautiful.
Yeah. He's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, and then I was talking about this yesterday, and this one kind of blew my mind, right? So what I was given within me, and this is a pivot that happened over the last week or two or something. This is what my
Okay.
guides gave yesterday. So what they talked about is divine flow allows you to be in multiple experiences. It's part of the multidimensionality. That's divine flow. And that divine flow is a flow from your will, which is a flow from your power, your divine
Yeah.
power. Beautiful. and and so they showed me this example, which I was like, whoa, that was really cool. So even like 2 weeks ago, maybe a little more, I saw this is different. Like balance. When I said balance, I thought that was what we were doing, but I was given a correction yesterday that some may or may not resonate with this. But what they showed me was, they were like, no, it's not balance anymore, because balance is like this juggler, and the juggler's, juggling all these things. And
Yeah.
it's like, there's not a steadiness. They're juggling it, but
Yeah.
there's slight distraction with that, right? Because you're here and here and here. What they
Yeah.
showed me was that and they said that that's like a separate, when it's like a separate room, the juggling, it's not
The
connected to
judge
you, that
room. Yeah.
right. And so what they
Right.
showed me was, they were talking about, no, it's not balance, it's about divine flow. And what I got was, divine flow is, you're not going to these different things and juggling them. You're in your center, and you're moving through each experience, and it's coming through you to you. You're not moving at all. You're not extending yourself and putting your energy here and here and here and here and here at once. You're here, you're in your center, and it's coming to you. And it's divine flow, which is an
Mhm.
aspect of will, which is an aspect of power. I hope that makes sense. Larry, did
Well,
I explain that well?
yeah. What I was thinking about that was when you were mentioning the juggling. I'm like, yeah, and more shit keeps getting thrown into your pile to juggle, and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And all you're doing really though is you're opening yourself up for more and more shit to come your way, right? When you're not going within, you're juggling all this crap, right? And it's just all you're doing is the same old behavior that really got you that situation in the first place, where you had all this shit to juggle. Not that you knew any different, because I haven't either. You know what I mean? It took a long time, and I
Oh,
don't even.
right, right.
Right. So
Yeah.
so it yeah, so that's the way I look at it, is like, okay, you're constantly being more shit to throw at you, but you are juggling, right? And whose shit are you juggling, literally, when it comes right down to it, right? Whose stuff are you
True.
juggling?
Good
Is it
point. Good
is it
point.
a combination of theirs and yours? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, what are you juggling it for? What is the purpose, right?
Yeah, because now when you're saying that, I'm getting, because part of aligning in your true power, your true power, is that you surrender aspects of your life that were voices of your ego, is what I'm hearing. So part of that juggling you're talking about is the small
Mhm.
ego wanting to juggle these plates, is what I'm seeing. And it's, you're surrendering that, so that because you're in this place of surrender, and you're in this place of trust, and you know that the center of your reality, yeah, as you take back your true power, as you align in that, isn't external, it's within you, and that you're the center, you're moving through the experience, but you're stationary, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were divine flow.
Divine
That's
flow.
divine flow. Yeah.
Right, right. With anything really, like when you're and get to an enlightenment point of that nature, everything moves into more of a divine flow instead of that struggle. And I wish I could remember how you put it when we were talking either yesterday or it was before the show. Your divine flow is where you want to be. And before you're in your divine flow, you're just I forget how you put it, but it was basically like, you realize you're juggling too much shit. You're first of all, you shouldn't be juggling to begin with. And if you are, it should only be your own stuff, which that would be
Yep.
stuff you're dealing with, not juggling.
Yep.
Juggling to me, and the word surrender too. I want to hit that real quick. That's one of them words that I really don't like hearing either. Even though what else are you going to use, right? But it is true. You must surrender, right? But that doesn't mean that you must be completely submissive and get tied up every night and in chain whipped or something, right? With a weird leather mask on. That's another story. But it doesn't mean that you become a doormat to surrender. It
Yeah,
just means that you accept
absolutely.
it as an acceptance, right? When you think it's more like of an acceptance type of a feeling, like a real deep, profound acceptance, right? Not just accepting that the neighbor down the street's a dick, or that that guy at the grocery store always seems to have his head in the clouds when he's trying to check you out, or what. I mean, check you out of there. I mean, not checked out. I mean, you might get checked out like that. I don't get checked out like that. It's just I get checked out when I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Like they're checking me out of the store and they're checking me out. But right. So yeah, see, I throw those one-liners out there, and I throw myself for a loop like that. But
Yeah, no,
your
it's
acceptance. It's an acceptance that you can use in any situation that you're in. It's not just that, okay, well, I don't like Joe down the street, so I'm going to avoid him, right? Or I'm going to just accept that that he likes the fucking beers or some petty shit like that. It's in every moment you're in, and then you can adapt to that. No matter what you're dealing with at the time, you can
yes,
adapt to the acceptance of
yeah,
accept
your
it.
ability to, yeah, that this is, oh, okay, this is like just like when you got multiple things coming at you at once and you're in your flow and it's challenging you, and
Mm-hmm.
you maybe you get a little pissed, but then you're just kind of like, it's not worth it. You let it go. You're just like, it's not worth it. It didn't mean you don't get pissed, and you might get pissed for a minute and then you come back to your center. I mean, that's part of, everybody gets pissed. Everybody gets frustrated. You just move back into your center. You're just like, it's good. Yeah, that's good. Is it important? Nah, no, I'm good. Okay. Um,
And you can attest to this.
yeah.
It certainly takes a lot to. Sometimes it takes a lot for us to go through to start realizing that, one, that we need to take our power back or get it for the first time, and two, to there then two or three, depending on which step you're at, what the things that need to be done to achieve that, right? And sometimes those outside factors that are around, those other radio stations trying to bleed into yours, right? Trying to get into your frequency.
Yeah.
Fading
Yeah.
into frequency, it takes a while, right? I mean, it's and sometimes it does suck, the things that we have to go through. But I mean, the one thing I can say, and this
Yeah.
will sound completely cliche, is you're better off. You end up being better off for it. Not that it was anything I would choose to go through again, but
Right.
sometimes it does take that to. Well, not sometimes. Most of the time, it does take that to build character and to. Boy, how do I sound without, or say without sounding like I'm some pep coach from the Glee Club or something? Or the head of
You
the
have
chess.
to.
Or, yeah.
I offer you have to explore your dark for you to know your light. Just forget we, Jason. Yeah, no, you have to explore your dark. You have to hit a lot of walls, and you have to figure out what you're not to figure out what you are. That's the weeding out, the weeding through. Um, that everybody goes through to when you're doing your inner work and you're
Mhm.
pulling off those layers that really were never you, as I've said in other podcast, the way I would perceive it is like, the inner work, the healing of self is like you're peeling layers off of an onion, and it's continual.
Yeah, it's perpetual. And it seems like they grow back. They grow back, and you're peeling off more. You didn't get that one good enough, so it took on another life.
More layers.
More.
They just look different.
Right.
So the other thing with so with power is about, because it's connected to power, and then your will and your voice. And all of these are about, you can say ascension, but the word that really resonates with me now, I shared with you yesterday, Larry, was descension. Rather than us rising into higher light, like out of our bodies, we're actually we're deepening in our body. The light is expanding in our body. We are descending. And that's about integration into daily life of our will, of what we want for our personal realities, and become very clear, on what we don't want, what is not acceptable. And the not acceptable is not from a place of, you have awareness of what the ego wants that's not acceptable, but the focus is on the large will, the big will, and what is not acceptable. Yeah, physical grounded life.
Yeah, who would have thought we're descending back in, not into outer space, but into ourselves? But when we really think about it, your outer space is really inside of you. Everything is within. So you really are descending. You are descending into yourself. Yeah, but I remember telling you, and let's be careful about how you say that, because if you come up to somebody and just say, hey, especially in the New Age community, and say, hey, look, man, I'm not trying to ascend. I'm trying to descend. I'm trying to descend. Yeah, you're gonna freak a bunch of people out, but that's why I think it's important what you're saying, because it's so true and it's so spot on about that.
Well, because it used to be, what are we at, 2025? So we're going back 10 years, right? We all thought, we all saw this as like, we're going to be floating, and we're going to be like, these light beings, and we're going to be like, I don't know I don't remember all the stuff, but it was not about, I'm sure there were some, but most of the ones I remember, it was about the light in the body, and that we were going to be in these higher experiences. At that time, we didn't realize that
by the end of the decade, boom, we're going to be there. I know.
Boom, there. Yeah. We didn't realize that these other experiences, these other realities will still exist. And what I offer is that, yes, they will exist, but the constant in your life and your reality and everybody's is ourself. So as you align more and more and more with what you are, your divine will is what I'm hearing, you're transforming all of those realities as you walk in them. Because you put that, your energy goes out. It's and when I'm saying this, to be quite clear, when I talk about divine will, that's, you can either say, okay, and many people will take this different ways. You can say you're a divine child. Some people could say you're God, goddess. I respect that. You could say God through you, however you want to see it, but you are a child of God. We are reflections of that in all ways. And so when you are embodying more and more light, you are most definitely influencing your reality, and you have influence, and that influence is your will, your divine will of what you want for the greater good. Because when you're walking in divine, when you're walking in your higher light, when you're walking with your divine will, then you are only wanting what is the best choice, what is the highest choice, what will serve the most, what will bring my heart peace. And to be quite clear, because I clarified this with you before, right, Larry? What I receive is that anything that brings your heart peace, any of those choices are automatically going to be choices that serve our world. The heart, as I understand, cannot be diluted. You can fake it with yourself for a little bit, but at some point that kind of comes crashing down. And so for whatever that vision is, that envisioning for a higher way for our world, whatever that choice is that you receive, you want to exert your will into that reality for the highest good. It's going to serve all. it's not a selfish thing. That doesn't exist in that paradigm. In the small will, it does, but not in the divine will.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. I had a thought. I had just had a thought on something you had said. We really did think that, a lot of us, about 10 years ago, that, well, I wasn't sure, but I thought, yeah, it would be an ascension. It would be a planet, maybe like a dimensional split. I won't say planetary split, but a dimensional split. And then, I got away from that pretty quickly. But then, still recently, until the last year or so, well, until the last few months, I've been hearing people say that, well, the planet's just going to split. The planet's going to split off, right? It's going to split off into two separate bodies. And and I'm just like, man, that would take a whole hell of a lot. What that would entail, I try to tell these people, that would entail like 75% of everybody, and that's if you know a lot of people, were to wake up tomorrow and be into the kind of thoughts you're having as far as this stuff goes, as far as enlightenment goes, and New Age spirituality, starseed light workers, Pleiadians, Arcturians, crystals, rainbows, metaphysical, quantum mechanics, physical mechanics, mental, whatever, right? It would
Right.
take that
Right.
take that kind of a vibrational shift in energy. But then, if that were to happen, there would be no need to, because everybody would be that way anyway. So then I realized how stupid I sounded, because if that were to happen, though, there would be no need for it to happen. You know what I mean? Because everybody
Yeah.
would be that way, right? We wouldn't all need to move if we were already there.
It's
I
it's
mean, so, yeah,
it's gonna be what it's gonna be, right? Just kind of like what Jason just said about experience. Yes, to me, it's all about experience too. It's
but people
that's
get
the
hung up
the
on
gift.
people. But I have talked to people, Carolyn, that get worried that people are not going to be in their life anymore at all. Like, maybe kids that aren't ascended, maybe parents that aren't ascended, right? Or not ascended at all. Like, like that's some big king of a thing to be. Well, it is actually, but they thought maybe they're not going to be in their reality no more. And I'm going to be like, no. The way I would look at it is kind of like an old friend you really don't resonate with or connect with anymore, yet they still live across town on the other side of town. I mean,
Yep,
yes,
it's good.
could you get a hold of them in an emergency if you needed to or had to?
Yeah.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. It's just like they won't really be in your reality anymore, right? They won't really
No, they won't.
they won't.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not at your frequency anymore, and you can see them. Like you go to social media, and you can kind of see
Yeah.
if they're one that post, oh, okay, yeah, they're doing that. Oh, that's and you look at the things they've done, and I'm hearing within me that's like an old timeline. Oh yeah, I was in that timeline before. I remember that.
What, you still
Um,
see Jones or something on their timeline, right? But
yeah,
yeah,
it's okay. It's all good. I mean, we're all on different. We're all at different paths. Different. It's an
yeah,
individual thing. Um,
absolutely.
let's see. So it's like there's going to be many people, and they're not walking in the same space you are, and they're going to make choices, and you're going to see them as you get to know yourself better, and what matters
Hmm.
to you, what your personal will is for your reality, and you're going to see them making choices, and you're like, wow, well, that clearly was something that is, they made from ego or whatever. And my thoughts are, when you feel that, when you voice that, it's not about judgment, it's just about observation. Because the minute you judge something, it's affecting you. It's like it comes back to you. You judge it, it's because it's all the reflection. So it comes back to you the minute you judge. Doesn't mean you don't have awareness of it, your discernment, but
Hmm.
judging also blocks your ability to see. You can't see things when you're judging. You can't. It's like blinders. Like I'm seeing a
Hmm.
horse that has those blinders on it, right? You can discern it, so you can observe it through your heart, and the intention is about to understand and understand why that person is making that choice out of
Hmm.
compassion. You don't have to agree with them. You can
Right,
observe
right.
it. You can observe it, and then you can be like, yeah, I don't agree with that, or yeah, I can understand why you did that, and you just kind of you love them from a distance is what I'm hearing
Yeah,
within me right now.
they're trying to figure it out too. I mean, if they want to, but it's like with darkness, you can only go so far with a dark mentality, right? You can only listen to Joe Rogan give lame one-liners, with his 1% IQ. a few times, right? I mean, at least, and you wonder, okay, the guy's a great fighter. He seems like he's got a lot of charisma, but his brain capability is very limited. But that's okay.
Yeah.
He figured out too, and he made a bunch of money. Hey, he got paid. So that's the main thing. But it's the same kind of thing that's talked about when you're dealing with the darker you go, the more you lessen your creativity, right? And the
Right.
more down a rabbit hole you'll go down without really knowing what any door has to offer. And then when you go in a door, not finding out really what it is all about, either getting scared away, and running away, or thinking, oh man, this is really, really cool. And then, leaving at the same time. Right. So it's one of them things where, all we can do is, hopefully, all I can do is hope and that they won't drag down my chances anymore for moving forward, and or humanities in general. So hopefully they'll figure it out at some point
I
too.
mean, ultimately,
Yeah.
this is what I always get. People can take or toss what they want, but I mean, I've always gotten this, that no matter what happens at the physical level, it's all love at a soul level. That's just what I've always gotten. So it doesn't matter what the actions of this person are, and it doesn't mean that they're not accountable to those, but it means that the action that person did, and I know that at some point in my life people are going to jump on me about this or something, but I always get, no
Okay.
matter what happens physically here, it's all love at a soul level,
Yeah.
because we aren't what we do. No matter what we do, we are what we are. You could be a criminal, and you could do criminal things in this life, but ultimately you're still a child of God.
Hmm.
And I'm hearing within me, and I'm not trying to be controversial, but some guy just saying you could be the president, and you could be the president and do what you do. You're still a child of God. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. Yeah.
you can be, what am I hearing? Somebody in, I do, what it's got, Dubai,
Dubai.
one of those, high up people in Dubai who does things that nobody wants to know, and whatever they're doing, that's
Yeah.
between them and God, but they're still a
Yeah.
child of God. They also still are, with all of them, they're still accountable. They're still accountable for those choices, and
Hmm.
it's always, to me, everything's always seen. I always get that. There's nothing, everything's seen. Nothing's hid. And I don't even mean from technology. It's always been that way, because the seer in
Hmm.
your reality is you. And even if, you want to deny a choice you made or something you did, it's always within you. Just like when we said this a couple days ago, right? That, I said that Janika, my friend Janika, when you watch something, when you watch anything on TV, or maybe you're watching some horrific thing, and you're enjoying it and you get off watching that, you have to understand that that thing always exists within you afterward. It's in your psyche. It's always there.
Hmm.
And so it's
Hmm.
kind of like, can you watch that? Absolutely. Do you want to get off on that? Fine. But understand it still exists in there. And you have to be aware of its influence, right? And so it's
Hmm.
about, when you're connecting with what matters to you and your voice, you begin to
Yeah.
make conscious choices of what you feed yourself. What are you existing off of, and what do you really want to feed yourself with? Do you want to feed yourself, and I'm not judging this because there's free will, do you want to feed yourself with this horror, or would you rather go outside to the park and sit in the sun, listen to the birds, or or
Hmm.
do you want to go watch cars race, or do you want to? You just have to be aware, because all of it is like,
It
it, it,
stays with you.
it stays with you. It continues to exist within you beyond the event. You're making this choice that, I'm seeing something like, you're around people when you're young and they're doing horrible things, and you're at this place where you're not ready to speak up about it, but
Hmm.
within you that those things are not right, and there's no judgment on that. At some point, we've all been in that space, but that stuff stays with you, and the only way it's washed clean, is what I'm hearing, is the place of self-forgiveness. um
Hmm.
and that's the resetting place, and that is the place where you eventually reach, when you're in the place where you're beginning to align with divine will, because you are again surrendering your will, or merging your will, your small will, with
Mm-hmm.
divine will. And so you are open to more of what brings you joy and what feeds your heart.
Yeah.
And that's a place that serves everybody. It's not a egoic choice, is what I'm hearing within me. And you become very aware of other choices of others that are in that place where you're like, wow, I know, I know where they are. I know why they made that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you don't hold them in judgment. You just, again, you have awareness of it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like why
Larry.
they might watch a Saw marathon, like why they, like if somebody that you're with might want to watch a Saw marathon, like the movie Saw all day long, if you've ever seen the movie Saw. Yeah. All day, perpetually, can't wait till the next one comes out. You know what I mean? But
I
so
didn't
they,
want to see it, but I mean, I've seen other ones, but yeah, I didn't want to see that one.
well, there are plenty. We'll have another show. We'll go down the list, right? But you're right. That stays with you, right? And so here I got the perfect solution. The perfect solution.
It
If you're in a
does.
situation where you don't want to deal with that, right? But you have a partner or somebody that is into that kind of thing, will you just tell them that this stays with you? You already seen the first one. It stays with you. You don't need to watch it again. You know what I mean? This shit stays with you. Literally. So, there's no reason for you to have to sit and watch another one again to be reminded of what you already know. You
It's
know what I
always
mean?
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of people don't realize is it's like, yeah, I'm hearing it really is programming. Like when you're watching something like a movie or what, it really is programming. It really is. It's there, and it's yeah. Um, so my main thing is to bring awareness to the levels of power and what true power is, not the twisted stuff that we've been brought up on. And it's not about external things making things happen. It's about you doing that. But it's not about okay, it's about you doing that, but you're aligned in your heart. You're aligned with what you want to do, not what somebody's telling you to do. what
Mm-hmm.
what do I want to do? What would make me happy? Sometimes that's a compromise. Maybe it's something at work you really don't want to do, but it's got to be done. Maybe you can have a choice on how it's done, or the way it's, or the process it's done, or where it's gonna, um
There's always things to
slowly.
consider, right? Yeah.
Right, it's about taking back your will, taking back your power, understanding its choice. It really is your choice. And that can begin with visualizing within yourself what you want to see differently, what you want differently, that aligns with your heart. Because as you begin to do that, it empowers you with the energy that you would get from that experience to make the change. And even if it doesn't happen the way that you visualize it, it will give you the energy to make a change, make a different choice for yourself. What's up, Larry? Um,
Oh, I had to make sure. TikTok does this thing every once in a while where you have to slide this piece of the
is
puzzle over to another piece of the puzzle to
it
get it to
okay?
stick. But yeah. It's okay now. But I was thinking about how well,
Jason,
I don't.
what is
Yeah.
that?
I don't need to see that again because like I've already envisioned what it's like to slide a piece of the puzzle over to another piece of the puzzle, right? I already seen this before. I don't need to just like I don't need to see Bruce Lee fly in the air and beat up 20 guys at one time, right? Unbelievably, or 80-year-old Chuck Norris doing it, right? Where he's suspended in the
Right.
air, round over his
I
head
was,
and 20 people.
I was looking at what Jason. Okay, Jason. I think he's one
Yeah.
of the what is this, viewers on YouTube. He
Hmm.
got a lot of comments. I can't reply to all of them, but it's like, imagine a universe of abundance literally expanding at every moment, and light workers building a cult, a personality. Yeah, that's kind of sweet. Yeah, I like that. I'm seeing graffiti of all kinds over some kind of object. That's what I'm
Colorful
seeing.
graffiti, right? Like
That's what
rainbow
on
graffiti.
very colorful graffiti. That's
Yeah.
what I'm seeing right now. It's really cool. Yeah, it's It's your voice in your own reality, and it's about exerting that, extending that, daring to extend that at any degree that you're comfortable with. And I've said this in other podcasts, but it's like we haven't really talked about power like this one. And
Mm-mm.
this is something that really like lights me up, because if you think about every soul and imagine every soul connected to their own will, their own true choice within themselves of who and what they are, of what makes them tick. And they're not
Mm-mm.
listening to these external voices. They're in their own. And it really would be like a cult of personality, because these would all be different. These are different
Right,
individuals.
but all, yeah, all getting the love from each other, but and giving the love
All
back. Because it's yeah, you're all of a
beautiful.
sudden in this, right. You're all
Like,
of a sudden in a society where you're not going to have to worry about that outside noise, because people want to be loving and supportive, but they don't want to give you any outside noise, right? They don't want to tell you how
yeah.
this should be, that
And,
should
and,
be, what I would have done, what I wouldn't have done, and all that good stuff.
and all the expressions of how they want to affect their world, what they want to change, what their unique choice is for like anything that, I mean, if you think about everybody being able to input from their divine will on what they want, I mean, there's things that would be happening now that are only now beginning to happen, right? I mean,
Yep, usually. Mm-hmm.
it's not even, I'm hearing trickle down effect. It's way beyond trickle down effect. It's
It's
like
gone, Ronald Reagan, right? Exactly.
it's like global meditation all at once, you know.
Mhm, good point.
It's I'm seeing the visual within me that
Trickle down ascension or descension, trickle down enlightenment, right? Could be.
the the visual I'm getting within me right now is this is what I always see, because to me everything that happens, there's a dark and light side. So, you know, I've said this in other podcasts, COVID had the dark side, that was obvious. But the light
Mhm.
side of it is that the Mother Earth got pause, got peace. People weren't
Yeah.
in spaces of her, and the growth and the healing that happened on her, and the scenes that we saw from her healing were like, they were like
Power.
heart exploding beauty. Oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the imagination can go into all all different directions when it comes to this. And this is about making a different choice
Yeah.
in your life, actually allowing yourself to ask yourself what really matters. And it can happen just by your exploration that way.
Hmm.
Generally, it happens through the dark night of the soul and that kind of thing, where
Absolutely. And this was one for the
your whole life.
collective, right? Yeah. And
Yeah,
this was
but
one for just an individual. That was a dark night of the soul, sort of, to speak, for a whole, for the whole planet, really.
it really was. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it really was. It really was. Um, yeah, it can happen through exploration for a soul allowing themselves to explore what matters to them, to begin to ask that question, which my feeling within me is that's part of the shift right now that's coming. It's began, but it's going to expand, where people are like, you know, I don't really give a fuck about this anymore. This doesn't really matter. Why did this matter to me in the first place?
Yeah, really.
Why do I care about this? This is creating this stress. This is
Yeah.
perpetuating this. This is causing this.
Yeah.
Why does this really matter? You know, and I would love it to happen like that, rather than the way that it
What
normally
happens?
happens, which is the dark night of the soul. You know,
Yeah.
the curiosity would be the way I would prefer it to happen. Yes, Larry.
But other little things will happen like that. Okay, like for instance, like with politics, I was really heavily into those, sports, right? And now I really don't care. And it's not, it just I just woke up one day and it was like that, right?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
of a sudden, and so that kind of happened without it. But the bigger picture took a dark night of the soul. Of course, several, too many to. Let me put it this way: Carolyn, Mooey, lots of them, Mooey, dark nights of the soul, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But with those couple of things, it just happened like that, man. I just was like Forrest Gump. I decided to quit running one day or quit walking, and hey, man, I'm done. And then it was over, right? So there are little times that you come to that in your life where it's not like a work it's not like you really consciously worked at getting past that or getting over doing that. I can't, like, oh fuck, I can't watch General Hospital anymore at 10 a.m. or fuck, Days of Our Life on TV. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like it'd be like that, and just all of a sudden you're done in the blink of an eye.
No. It eats at you. It's something that you it begins to, I would say it eats at you. It's something that you're like, wow, I'm really uncomfortable with this. Like, it's even it's a private conversation with you. I'm really uncomfortable with this. I can't believe how much I don't care about this anymore. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. I'd rather be doing this. I just don't really care about this anymore. I can't fake caring about this, and I don't want to be inauthentic,
Right. Yeah, and it gets to, it almost flips that quickly too, where it's like, I mean, you can't even like go along to get along with it almost. It's just like there's no ability to, and you're kind of stuck. Sometimes, like, I mean, whether it's like,
you go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be like I don't know. Last year, my dad and son were really worked up about a football game, and I just get, and it was a big one with the Oregon Ducks. They're the university local to me here. They're not too far away, but right up the road, and it's a big time deal here in this part of the country, like with other things in some parts of the country too. And so I just couldn't get into the game. I mean, I wasn't even in it to begin with, and I just couldn't. I mean, I couldn't even fake it. I mean, I just it was rough. It was rough to try to even put a good face forward, right? Usually I can do that a little bit. You're meeting with some people you don't really care for. Or, this is that you got to do this to get through it, right? But this I just couldn't. It's like it was coming at me from another planet. I didn't even know how to respond, right? It wasn't a matter of, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a matter of frustration or anything. I just didn't know how to, I just had to sit with the fact that I just didn't know what to do with it.
You'd shifted. I mean, it's like I've said this. It's been a while, but I said this in other podcasts when I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was one of my daughters was a baby, and one was closer to a toddler, and I was in moms groups. I had been in one particular moms group for 2 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's like 30 moms in it, and I and something happened like overnight. I don't know what happened, and this was like late 2000s, and I used to be in this group because they were moms. And I thought that was enough. They talked about fashion and gossip and all kinds of stuff, and I just kind of let myself, yeah, sure, fake caring about that stuff because I wanted to be with them. I wanted to, and
you could talk yourself into doing it. Yeah, you could more.
I talked myself into it, and then I woke up one day, going to one of our little group things we had, I think once a week or something like that, and I knew that I had to leave the group because it really hit me, like it was like a ton of bricks. Like, I mean, I love these women. One in particular was very, very special to me, but I knew all of them. I mean, I'd been in different groups with them, or that group with them, but it's like I didn't know these women. We talked about fashion, and we talked about baby stuff, and yes, there is a camaraderie with women when you've got a baby, and you're nursing them, or yes, there is a similarity. Yes, that's true. But if your only bonding is that space, and you don't go beyond that with individuals, with yourself and that other person, there's no connection. You don't. It's just your parents, and you love your children, and so it was like weird because I woke up that morning and I knew that I didn't want to be in that group anymore. That they were strangers. I wish them well, but I didn't belong in the group. It was so weird because it was I'm hearing within me cognitive dissonance. The experience was so weird because it's like, my normal thing was I'm going to the group, and I loved it, and I really strived to be close and friends with these women, and it was really like, because I wanted to benefit my children, and but it was just this total, just like with you and the game you're talking about, it was this total shift within me where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about being in this
Mm-hmm.
group anymore. I don't care about fashion. I don't care
Right.
about this gossip. It's what's the point?
Yeah.
And to me, this is part of what we all go through as our awareness increases, as we connect with what we are, our personal voice, which is
Mm-hmm.
about our will, our power.
Our
And
power of yeah.
yeah, and it's like this stuff just slowly starts to happen, and your whole external world shifts because your internal world becomes your center. It's
Yes,
very, very
absolutely.
different.
Absolutely. Absolutely right, and it's still at the same time, even though you've gone through it, right? It's still surreal that it's because it's an ongoing process. It's still surreal that it's happening, right? And it's just, but
It's
you
surreal.
get in those moments like me with the game, like you waking up that one day and being there, and you probably had this thought, so you might have went to one more, and you were like, "Ah, man, I just can't. It just isn't. I don't. It isn't that I can't even do it anymore. I can't. I mean, I might
I
have went
can't
back a
take
couple
it.
more times to see if I could get one of them if I ever needed a favor, like to say that I was there when I really wasn't there. Like if
Right.
they ran my partner or something. But that's I'm joking there.
Yeah,
But
I'm
what
hearing you can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't. The
right,
lies are like done, and you're like, wow, I
that's
really
the
don't
thing.
give a fuck about this anymore, and I don't want to
Yeah,
spend my time here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I would rather put my energy into this, and you become much more precious. You understand that your energy is precious. Your attention is precious. The more that you
well,
bring your center into yourself, which is basically
you
divine flow.
you learn to become more truthful with yourself, right? So by that happening, right,
Right.
it's a kind of a twofold thing with being truthful with other people. One is then you realize when you get into that mode with yourself, you realize one, okay, yeah, there's the moral thing, you shouldn't lie and all that shit, but that all that bullshit aside, it's the fact that you don't give a damn to lie anymore, right? As far as a lot of things, there's
Right.
no reason to, and you don't give a
Yeah.
damn to,
You don't
that
give a fuck.
yeah, you don't
You
give a
don't. You
yeah,
don't. You
that
don't
word.
have any what am I hearing? Reason to put on airs. I'm hearing right now. And you don't have any. You're like, take me or leave me. Whatever.
Well, no, you're in the
Whoa.
dark. You see what you went through a dark night of the soul. Look how quick they're happening for
It
you. Now you're out of it
it
already.
glitched. It glitched. I swear to God, it glitched for like what
I, you know
a
what that start?
second.
Yeah, you know what that means.
It
Wow,
is.
but
It is. Is it that time? Is it?
kind of. I think we've still got a few more minutes, and I think you've still got a little bit more to say. I could be wrong, but it's as far as like you don't care to lie to people anymore. You just don't care anymore, right? To lie, and it's not that because it should have never been based on whether or not you're going to hurt their feelings, not lot solely. It should have been based on first of all going to. Well, depending if it's going to be something that costs them something that is detrimental to them, right? If it's just going to be a friend who gets upset over any chicken shit little thing anyway, it's a matter of whether they're hurt or they're pissed. If they're pissed because of it, fuck them. If they're hurt, that's the people I don't want to hurt.
Very
And
much.
I look at it,
I
right? And of course, it's intricate. It can be a little bit of both, but there are a lot of people that are just, it could have been you lied to them about blowing up the trade center, you lied to them about taking a candy bar from the house, right? It could be that, and they still did this, oh, how could they have? Those kind of people I really don't give, I don't
I
give a.
well, I was getting this visual within me. I was getting this visual within me that it just flashed for a second ago when we were talking about that. I was seeing like a structure, a erector set. It's a metal structure type thing that's all
A
lit up.
skyscraper?
Like lights. You could do with that, but it's a there's gaps in between. It's a structure, and what I was seeing was that when you're in that place where that structure, which is it's yourself, it's you, is lit up, you have all that
Mhm.
light within you, and you make a choice and action externally that isn't authentic with you, it's like you're trying to connect something that is not of light to the structure within you that is light, and you will affect your internal structure, right?
Right. Right.
And it's an interesting analogy I was just given within me, because it's like I'm
Yeah.
seeing, I don't know, a Richter set is my first thought, but you know, it's a you could say skyscraper, but there's gaps in between. So it's like the structure of the
Um,
skyscraper before it's built.
yeah.
It's all
And,
lit. It's all lit. And so you're doing this work, you're doing your inner
um,
work, you're aligning your integrity, you are connecting with what your will is,
right.
and what matters to you in your own reality, and what you are what am I hearing? Something like ready to extend in order to change, um, for you, for the greater good. And you won't want to make those choices that aren't authentic, because you
There you
won't want
go.
to add that piece of something over here that isn't going to be lit. It isn't going to
Right.
be light. You're not
Yeah.
going to want to add it to your, I'm hearing a rector set, but you're not going to want to add it to that structure that is
The
you. You're not
domino.
going to want to do that, you know? Um, yeah. I
It's
mean, you
like a
could say
domino.
it's out of integrity, but I keep seeing this lit structure, like golden lit.
Right.
What was that, Larry?
Well, it's like a when you start talking about that, it's like a domino effect of things that start to happen. You know what I mean? You know, the lights
It,
included, like a rolling disco.
yeah, and you know, when you're first becoming aware of you, and well, the first thing I'm getting is that you have a different choice, that you can make a different choice, that you don't have to pick this choice that your mom said, that society says, that you actually can have another voice and another choice that doesn't have to do anything about with them. When you first are getting that, you are going to backtrack, you are going to fall back, you are going to make those choices that you wouldn't have made,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't want to make, because you're still learning what your voice is. You're still learning, and you have to learn through those, I want to say mistakes, but the truth is they're not mistakes, they're just lessons that are going to move you. They're going to move you closer and closer by either moving you in alignment with what you are, or not in alignment with what you are. But it's like, it's again the filtering out. You have to know, you have to go through what you aren't to understand and to connect with what you are. And so it's like the more and
Mm-hmm.
more those things happen, the more that you are.
Aware.
Is
Aware.
this my
You're aware.
dad? I'm hearing a rector set in my head. That's an old thing. That's a lot of people probably won't even know what that is, but you're building that structure within you. And
Yeah.
it's like, that stuff that is you, that stuff, that the structure within you, the light, the gold that gets stronger and stronger. And that structure builds more and more. And the stuff that isn't you, you stop over time taking it into you and trying to
Mm-hmm.
fool yourself and tell you that it's yours, that you want that you agree with that's your truth, when it's not your truth. It's your husband's truth, it's your family's truth, it's your society's truth, it's this other person's truth that has nothing to
Mm-hmm.
do with you, and you don't agree with it all. And when
No.
you connect with that over time, and you allow yourself to, I'm hearing, exert your will, your divine will, what matters to you, what your heart burns to express, and you begin to allow yourself to express that, to be that for yourself, the more that inner structure within you, that gold structure that you are, is built stronger and stronger, and
Yes.
you become a force of light in your own reality.
Oh
And that's
yeah.
a really profound place, because your will is divine will. And
Yeah.
so I'm hearing you have their expectations that are placed on you, by your higher self, by higher levels, but you have expectations on you as well, because I'm hearing you're accountable. There's others that are
Mm-hmm.
watching you now, because they are looking for their way out of this place that they've put themselves that isn't even their own reality, their own life. And they're
Right.
trying to figure out how to get out of that. And they have to begin to build that structure by knowing what they aren't. And they've already, at this point, began to understand what they aren't to an extent. And so this is a place where you begin to extend your will at any degree. I don't want this. I want
Right.
this. And you might do it at first out of ego, out of spite, is what I'm hearing. But over time, you will learn that when you make those choices out of spite, they come back to bite your ass. If you can make the choice out of a supportive choice, a loving choice for you, automatically it's a loving choice for any other. That's not an
Because
isolated energy.
yeah, and you're
Yes.
considering all factors when you do it from that realm, right? You're considering all
Right.
factors when you're from that level versus just a gut reaction or a knee jerk reaction to
Right.
go, "Oh, that motherfucker." But it's an easy trap to slip back into. Of course, it's easy to get that way, right, for the longest time. But it's so encouraging to see some people to start to realize that, hey, to realize there are things to realize, that they may not realize. If that makes sense, there's known knowns and there's unknown knowns and there's unknown knows, and all that good stuff.
I'm,
It's a
I'm,
multidimensional. Go ahead.
Larry.
You-
I'm, I'm getting within me.
yeah.
That's why your ability to react with compassion towards a person that isn't being compassionate is profound, because you're not going to dig your ditch any deeper if you do it that way. I'm not saying it's not easy, but it will feed you significantly, and it will lift you out of the frequency that would want to retaliate in the first place, because from the place of retaliation is the place where you are feeling that something is threatened and that you put yourself in a place of survival and protection, when in reality, when you respond with compassion as much as possible, and again, it's not easy, but it's something that you give yourself, is what I'm ultimately saying. When you respond with that, not only do you not dig that ditch deeper, but you raise your frequency and you change. It's almost like you're changing your wiring in your brain when you respond with compassion. It's you put yourself at another level to be able to view what's happening, and you can offer that person, when you're responding with compassion, you're offering that person another way out of that dynamic rather than what have been expected. And when you stop somebody in a dynamic, in a relationship dynamic, they're going to have two responses. One, they'll be really pissed because you're changing the pattern, and that means they have to react differently and they don't want to change.
Very common.
Two, they did want to change. They are having changes within themselves, but they're having trouble trying to make those changes, trying to accept those changes. Maybe they're not feeling worthy of those changes. And you invite them into the new pattern of, wow, maybe they'll be stunned, but you never know, because they might turn around and say, they might hug you, they might cry, they might say thank you. Not 100% on this. Each person's very different, but you can change the pattern then. And when you change that and you give them that choice, you're giving them a gift rather than attacking them, and rather than you holding yourself in the old way of doing things and exerting your small will. When you deepen into divine will, then your action is going to be one of compassion, and your action is going to be one of offering them a different choice. They may or may not take it, but you won't know unless you offer it. And that is a beautiful outgrowth that happens when you begin to connect with what your voice is and what matters to you in your own personal reality, because then you get to consciously choose. You're not being jerked by this external event. And I've said this other podcast. You get to choose.
Wait,
Wow. They
right.
just said this to me. I'm really pissed about it. I'm like boiling inside and I want to tell them to fuck off. But instead you take a couple deep breaths. You take a couple deep breaths and
Right.
you maybe, hey,
Well,
hey, are you okay? You know, did you really
yeah.
mean to say that to me? Did you really mean to, go on, Larry?
Well, I was just going to say too is you got to be careful when you get to a point where you feel comfortable telling people about things like this too. You got to make sure that you're not doing it out of also here comes that word again that through that three-letter dirty word ego, right? That you're not just thinking that you all of a sudden have all the answers, right? But it's a
Right.
feeling. You feel when you're doing it out of that, or you feel when you're doing it out of a genuine concern, a genuine reality that you've reached that level. Oh, what's the level where you've reached that kind of state of consciousness within yourself, right? That you're doing this because it's something that you care about their best interest versus getting high on yourself because you love hearing what you have to say, which I have no idea what that would be like. But you do that, right? And it's and the last thing you want to become though, but you don't want it to go completely 180 and have them look at you as some kind of a guru or a somebody that might have all the answers, right? Because you could get your head blown off at a stop sign just as easy as anybody, right?
Yeah,
And
you
then
got to discern the situation. Absolutely.
yeah, because we're all infinite beings, right? But at the same time, in this current reality of an incarnation, anybody could, have that. Yeah, for some reason, I'm not getting any of the newer comments. I see you're looking down there, but you're not getting. You know what I mean? It's one thing, like I said, we always talk about. It's one thing to be full, to get it, to not know it, to get it, but then to get full of it inside, right? And to completely understand. And you don't want people to get hung up on, you want them to hear and understand your message, right? You
Right.
don't want them to, like a Christ said, he wanted people to understand his message. He didn't want them to kill it or try to kill him and start a religion after him. Okay. That's
No,
not what, right. That's
you
not
have,
really what it's
you have to
about.
understand your
Yeah. Yeah.
intent. Why am
Yeah.
I saying this? Am I saying this because I'm trying to offer them something that might be less painful,
Mm.
another choice, or am I saying this because
Click into the,
I want to practice what I've learned, and they're going to be my audience? It's two different intentions. Am I trying to help this person, or am I just trying to look like hot shit?
well, generally, and if you're not sure, if you're somebody who's doing that and you're not sure, I mean, just tell yourself this. I mean, you're going to give them some inspiration, right? But make sure it's quick to the point, no faking, cooking bullshit like
Yeah,
a pound of, and don't dwell
right.
on them and recite War and Peace and then go into mutiny on the fucking bounty and for whom the bell tolls and all that
It's going
bullshit.
to be, when you react in compassion, I offer, it's going to be something short and sweet. You're
Yeah.
just going to break a pattern. You're just going to not do what you usually do. And that might just be, instead of turning around in that next moment and they say fuck you and you turn around and say fuck you don't say
Uh,
fuck you back. You take a deep breath and you're just like, and maybe you don't say anything. Maybe you just send them compassion and you walk away, you know?
yep.
Um,
Yeah. Really, honestly,
all
though.
it's just a pause. It's just a pause. It
That's it,
breaks
man.
the pattern. It brings you into consciousness. It brings you into the moment. And then you can choose. You can certainly say fuck you back to them. That's always an option. But it's
This
like,
magic
you know
moment.
where that goes. It's like, oh wow, if they say fuck you, I say fuck you back, then I'm pissed.
It's
Then
never
they do
ending.
this.
Yeah.
It's just like two dogs chasing its tail. You can be like, or one dog chasing its tail. You could pause. You can stop that. You can exert your will, your higher will, and be like, okay, I'm not doing this again because I know where this goes, and then I know how I feel, and I know how they feel, and that's just old. I'm really done with this. And so you make a different choice, and that choice is made out of loving self and loving them,
Mhm.
which is the same flow.
Yeah.
And you make that choice, and again, it can just be a pause, or it can be that you just, maybe you say something back that you feel in your heart, like maybe it's a very intimate conversation, an intimate relationship, and it's a personal thing between you and them, and you maybe say one word or two words or something, you know um that changes the energy, that shifts the energy in a whole. And I'm seeing right now 2 people who are angry with each other, and then this person says fuck you, whatever, and this person is like conscious aware is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And they say something silly. They
Yeah.
say something because they're not taking it personal. They know it's not their stuff.
Yeah, no,
change
I'm the
energy.
one that will screw you, not fuck you. Sorry, I didn't go to fuck you. I went to screw you, you could say.
I screw you. Yes.
To come with you.
And it's yes, Jason, thank you. It's the truth right here. Sensory exposure. I'm reading his comment.
Yeah. Oh, I'll
Yeah.
give you a to some of his shows he did with me. I was listening the other day to him again. I'm like, God, I sound like a fucking moron. I thought, man, Jason, I glad I was right there with him and shit. But then I was listening back. I'm like, fuck, dude. I mean,
It's awesome.
kind of
Love you too, Jason. Yeah. So it's all about bringing yourself into the present moment and figuring out what matters to you, what your will is, and in that space, you can begin to make conscious choices, and it's all about being aware, being present.
Yeah,
all of it, all of these podcasts are about that. I'm seeing that clearly, right? Go on, Larry.
Power, though. Awareness is power. They talk about knowledge being power. It's great to learn because knowledge is power, but well, so is consciousness and awareness, right? They're power. So is perception, right? The right perception. Consciousness and awareness, though, are truly power. They're power.
Yes, they are, and it's something that I'm learning for me because I'm a what do you call me? A recovering perfectionist, right? It's something that I'm learning is for anybody that resonates with this. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware. That's all that matters.
Perfectionist thing. I meant you. I wasn't saying, well, I know how that is because I don't know how it is because I'm very
no,
critical,
I'm
but
recovering. Yes.
Yeah.
So you just have to be aware. You just have to. That's all. That's all that's required, and that's all that's required when it comes to taking back your power. You're becoming aware.
The password is
methodical. What?
The password is methodical. The password is methodical. Yeah, right. For Carolyn. Yeah. Right. But seriously though, I mean it's tough. And that I was not always a nice guy to perfectionists, not a dickhead, but I'd be like, man, you mean you got one beat, I mean, whatever it might be, right? There's one little thing about it that was and they're hung up on that one thing. They got a 99% big test, but they're hung up on that one. I bet you've been there, huh?
Yes, I've been there. But I'm sharing that because that's about awareness,
right.
and that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah,
Larry,
absolutely.
I'm good. I
don't have any.
You don't
have any wisdom. I mean, how can I top that? But I really don't have anything else to say except for I feel pretty good about what we've said, and I mean, there it is, and there it goes, there it was, and here it is, and
there it is. Yeah, I mean, it's out there. It's offered. Power, perception of will, experience received. Small will is the first layer. Larger divine will is the next layer, and true power is within you as you connect with what matters to you, what makes your heart peaceful,
and that's
your world. It's all bring it back into you. Stop pointing it out external from you. Bring it back into you. You can have awareness of what's external, but the focus is within you. It's your choice. It's your will. It's your personal reality. It's your gift.
Yeah,
it does. It's the gift what you are as a divine being, a child of God. It's your divine birthright. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Or you got something else?
I have one last question for you. Carolyn Lanier Roberts, in the wonderful, wonderful world of social media platforms, what services do you offer, and where can these lovely people find in that wonderful world? Where?
The thing I'm going to qualify first, Larry, I meant to say this is that Larry channels and I channel, and frankly, everybody channels. And channeling is basically when there's energetic impulses that are received by your pineal, which is a small gland in the middle of your brain, your pineal, the master gland. And it interprets those impulses as a language, as words, as many things, right? And it's that's channeling. That's channeling. And everybody does it. It's just becoming aware of that, connecting with that. Maybe we'll do one on channeling. You and I both could do that easily.
Because I was going to recommend if we don't, what you said there, and you said this the last few times, and when you told me in private about a month ago, I was like, that's exactly how it's done. Exactly how channeling's done. It's exactly what's going on with it. And I think we should, and I think if nothing else, you should write an article on it, because if you don't, I'm going to steal the idea from you. And I'm just saying, straight up, girl.
Well, I'm qualifying it because I'm hoping people are, they channel and putting us out here where you and I used to be, where, oh my God, they channel. No, everybody does it. Just like breathing. Everybody. Okay. So him and I do. And so I'm bringing that forward. Okay. So I am Carolyn Lanier Roberts. And I am that on Facebook. And my mission business is allowing the light. And as I mentioned before, I'm a reawakener of the conversation of the heart. That is my mission. And my goal is to connect you with your divine voice, your beauty, your grace, your truth, and your own beautiful reality. I offer private sessions via Zoom or via in person. And I can be reached on my mission business page on Facebook, Allowing the Light. I am also allowing the light on Instagram with an underscore between those words. On YouTube, I have 2 channels that I need to update. Well, one at least. Allowing the Light, which is my my YouTube channel, and my old one is Carolyn Lanier Roberts. Everything on my personal page on Facebook, Carolyn Lanier Roberts, is shared public, so anybody can access that, because there's no other point to me. My Etsy store is Allowing the Light, which I am the first search for that. Woo! I offer my my light language infused blessing picks and joy doodles, because I am about connecting you with the heart, connecting you with the joy that you are, the divine child that you are. And when you have a session with me, one of the things that can happen is that I work with what some will call the Akash. Within me, it's called the Library of the Heart. Yep. And my concern is to connect you more with what you're feeling and your emotions there, because those are energetic stamps that carry through, because time really is an illusion. So these are like connectors to those events within you. And it's about changing those patterns that have been stamped on you from those times, from your ancestors, for you to make different choices, for you to present yourself differently in your own reality for you. Let's see. I also work with your higher self and you for whatever it is that you want to achieve or called to. Let me see what else. Anything that was offered is for you to discern and pick apart for what resonates for you. All of it could resonate, parts of it could resonate, whatever. It's your choice, and I'm just honored to serve, and honored for anything that will resonate. Is that it, Larry? I think that's it. Okay. Thank you so much for your time and attention, as you have given me both. You have given me everything, and that is love. Thank you. Thank you.
I got a couple of items. For those listening on TikTok, listen, I'm still trying to figure this out. If you want to be invited as a guest, I don't know if that comes up by your name when you do, or if it just happens to be part of your name. If that's the case, I'm still working on that. I say that every week. You think I do something different. That's the definition of insanity. So Jason's been watching today. I've been glad to have him on. When we used to do shows years ago, basically there was no Facebook Live yet. I mean, it was in Twitter. X was just a place where people traded one-liner insults. So I didn't really think about that. It was YouTube, Facebook. But so now, fast forward to now. Okay, so you can find me at the Larry Locken channel, and I also have other nicknames too on some of these places. I'm on Instagram, Telegram, go buy a gram, tell a vision, tell a lie, go tell Graham I need another gram. I'm on, purple sky, tie-dyed sky, red sky, gray skies are going to clear up, put on a happy face. I'm on blue sky. Okay, I'm on, Twitter, Pitter, Shitter, X. I wish all my X's would move to Texas.
Red sky at night. I'm hearing that song in my head now.
The Fix 1983, by the way. Not one, but I'm Snapchat, you chat, he chat, we chat, she chat, we all chat. I'm on that one. Let's see, I'm on Pinterest, which I don't have a lot of interest, some interest, but mostly disinterest in Pinterest. But I'm on Pinterest. I'm on, let's see, I probably need to go to bed. I need my meds. I got enough street cred. I can't grow dreads, but I'm on Threads. Yeah, I'm on Threads. Okay. I'm on, all of them. I'm on Lemonade, which is really great. Just ask my friend Nate. He likes to master his checkmate. He's working on his chess skills. I'm on Lemonade. I'm on Lemonade is actually the Lemonadian Pleiadian. Lemon, the number 8, IAN, one word, Lemonadian Pleiadian. I do a thing about every day called the Lemonadian with the Lemonadian Pleiadian. So blue sky is cool. Yeah, it's a little bit kind of boring, but it's a really good, smooth energy. And there's so many more. I'm sure. Okay, I mentioned the big ones. X, Instagram, TikTok, and at all of them you can find me at the Larry Locken channel. I'm also on Twitch, which is kind of something that rhymes with the word B. It's okay, but we're on there. We're on Twitch, the Larry Locken channel, and that's how you can find us there. Everywhere, Larry Locken channel. SunCloud I'm not on, I know that, but I mean everywhere else. WhatsApp, which is usually a bunch of crap. I'm on there too. And it's still good old, Facebook. Main place you can find me on Facebook now is, and I would encourage people to check this out if you're on Facebook, is the Pleiadian and Angelic Rainbow Orb page. Oh, hold on. Which brings me to this last point. I've got 5 YouTube channels. The reason I have 5, and Jason's probably going to be just choked on his coffee when I said that, is because when I signed up all these years ago to do stuff on there, when I was back within 5D, I signed up, and so they gave me 5 YouTube channels, right? And I only used 2 of them for the longest time. I used one for a couple other things, that was it. But I took the other 3 about a year ago, married them up with pages that I had, and I also changed it. I just kept my same name as my handle name, but they're also the Larry. You can go to Larry Locken 1 channel, Larry Locken 2 channel, Larry Locken 3, 4, and 5 channel. My name with the number and then the channel, right? And then it's also at whatever, like for instance, at Pleiadian Express Productions, at Pleiadian Light Grid Project, at Arcturian Crystal Blue Angels, at the Rainbow and one for the Orbs one is where we have like 10,000 orb and light code photos. Yes, YouTube has photos in there. You go to the post section. It's called the Pleiadian Angelic Rainbow Orbs. And that's the 4. Now the number 5 is Larry Locken 5 channel at Pleiadian Blue Healing, Blue Love and Healing. Anyway. And now that I got that out, one more thing. The one place you can find me if you want to just cut through all the bullshit is there's a page on Facebook called Rockin' Larry Locken social media outlets. Now, my last name is spelled Locken, so I thought it'd be really genius to spell Rockin' with an E instead of an I. So it's Rocken, Locken. Yeah, Rockin' Larry Locken social media outlet, right? Or you can just type in the Larry Locken Network. Every page can have a secondary name too on Facebook. God knows I've dealt with a few of them over the years. So that's where you can find everything I've ever been involved with on social media, the YouTube channels, the groups on Facebook, the different platforms, right? The never ending, and thank God for more of them. We could never have enough different social media platforms to join.
There it is, yeah.
The fun never ends. It's like being baptized with Colt 45 instead of water. It just, the fun never ends. And with that being said, Carolyn, was there anything you had to add to that? Did I forget anything? No? Well, okay.
You're good.
Well, folks, along with my beautiful, lovely co-host down in San Antonio, Texas, where everything is bigger down there. Well, almost everything. Big Lair's not down there. So that's one thing that's big that's not down there. But this has been Rockin' Larry Locken, your host with the most from coast to coast, giving up all the toast, giving you coolness, hotness, and everything you could have possibly cosmically wantedness. There, I almost got that right this time. Wishing everybody a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and we're going to send you off with a big cosmic dating game kiss. Da, 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 da. All right, Carolyn, and I'm right with you. Hold on. Okay, we are going off of Facebook Live. Goodbye, Facebook Live. Bye-bye, Facebook Live. Okay, goodbye, X. Goodbye, Elon. Bye. Yeah, yeah, bye. Yeah, bye. Okay, so am I off of there? Now, this is going to be the comical part of the whole show, getting off of everything. Okay, X, okay, stop broadcast on X. Okay, thank you, Mr. Musk. Okay, and we're going to say goodbye to Twitchy. Bye Twitchy. Okay, bye TikTok. Bye TikTok. And goodbye to Facebook Live. All right, Carolyn, be right back with you. Bye. Da. Now just wave and act like you're chatting yourself while the credits roll. Okay.